you say ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba da. Crazy at this thing called love, just what I've been dreaming of. And I can never figure out, oh, how you do the things you do. That's why I'm so in love with you. I like the way you make me smile. Boy, you give me butterflies. And when I look into your eyes, I'll see the future in me and you. That's why I wrote this song for you. I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. Just want you to know what I think of you. L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. Baby, you've got what it takes to make your girl say L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. If I met you in another life and you asked me to be your wife, with grace and a smile I say, yeah, always now and forever. You be my one and only lover. Cause I like the way you make me smile. Boy, you give me butterflies. And when I look into your eyes, I'll see the future in me and you. That's why I wrote this song for you. I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. Just want you to know what I think of you. L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. Baby, you've got what it takes to make your girl say L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. Ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba da.
Good morning and welcome to Lieutenant Commander Glapohkpa Chesson Talk Show on this beautiful Thursday, July the 13th, 2023. We woke up this morning to news that there's a strike in Liberia, in the southeastern region of our country. All of the health workers have gone on strike. They haven't been paid for 6 months. For the past 6 months, these people have not been paid. As our government officials are getting paid regularly, stealing our money, traveling across the world, going to Israel, trying to find Jesus in Israel, taking all our government officials to Israel to find Jesus, while our people in the southeastern region have not gotten paid. What kind of nonsense is this? We also see in the Providence, in the front page Africa newspaper, that we still have this issue about Joseph Boyka and the Walagisi Mountain issue. Who's telling us the truth? Costa came up with his press conference. The chairman of the UPP came out after that denying everything Costa had said. Then after him, the son of Joseph Boakai himself came up admitting that there was a meeting, as Costa stated, in Ghana, where Joe Boakai went to meet with investors to talk about $30 million for his campaign journey for this election. Now we come to find out that our mountain, our rich iron ore mountain, is up for sale to foreigners. We also see, again, this Mususcat, the Gloria Mususcat case, is in the newspaper. Why? Because the prosecution wants a writ of certiorari, which is a review of some judgment rendered by another judge. So they go into the judge in chambers. You know, these judges cannot review each other judgments, the similar courts. So they had to go to a higher court to review the judgment of the civil court judge who rendered the motion of the defense in the Mususcat case to have a discovery of the evidence of the prosecution. Now, the prosecution wants a writ, a certiorari, so the judge can review it whether it was right for this lower court judge to grant the motion of the defense for the discovery of the evidence. Whenever there's a grand jury indictment, like in the Mususcat case, let me bring my correspondent on from Liberia, Mr. Samuel Walker, on first. Samuel, up?
Yeah, good morning, Rod.
Yes, before we go into this Liberia issue, I just want to discuss this Mususcat issue. So let me just bring you on so you can hear it too.
Yeah.
Now, in the front page Africa newspaper this morning, they're saying that the prosecution, which is the Justice Ministry, wants a writ to review the decision of a judge of the civil court that granted a motion to the defense team for Mususcat to have discovery of the evidence. Now, what is discovery? Discovery is all of the evidence that the defense have that they use against the prosecution have, that the Ministry of Justice has, that they're using against Gloria Mususcat to convict her. Under the law, there's a process called discovery, where the prosecution has to give all the evidence they have against the defense to the defense team so they can review it. That happens usually before the case. So the defense in this case, the prosecution in this case is saying that, look, the lower court judge in a civil court gave all the evidence, has ordered that all the evidence be given that was used to indict Gloria Scott and the other people to the defense. He ordered them to give it to them. And the defense is saying that the prosecution has not given us this information. So they filed a bill of information with a lower court judge that gave the order to inform the judge that the prosecution has not given them this order. So apparently the judge in the lower court wants to know why the prosecution has not given them the order. So the prosecution now wants a writ of certiorari so that the upper court can review whether this judge had the authority to grant this motion to the defense to review the indictment evidence. Okay? Because they're charging these people with murder, conspiracy or murder, conspiracy or criminal conspiracy, all of that, and what else? False information. And these people have been given the authority to review the evidence. So the prosecution said, no, you can't review the evidence before the trial. Apparently, they're saying that if these people review the evidence, they would tamper with the evidence or try to, I don't know what they say they would do with the evidence. But all they're saying that, yes, you indicted our client. What is the evidence you use to present to the grand jury, to tell the grand jury that these people, as I told you before every criminal case, there has to be an indictment before a grand jury under our law. A grand jury is different from a trial jury. A grand jury is a jury that look at the cause. Why did this murder happen? We call it probable cause. But they look at the reason this murder occurred and all the evidence that the defense is presenting them. Now the grand jury is a body that is controlled by the prosecution. That's why many people in America today want to do away with the grand jury, because the grand jurors are not lawyers. They are just common people. They are between 18 people and 26, I think. I told you the last time. They're not the usual 6 or 12 people jury. They're way above those, because all their job is to just look at the evidence and decide whether the prosecution should indict these people for this crime. That's all their job is. They have nothing to do with whether the person is guilty or not guilty. That's not their job. So what our law says, before every criminal case can be forwarded, there must be a grand jury indictment. Okay? So the grand jury has indicted Gloria Musu Scott. But the defense want to know now, what was the evidence that the prosecution presented to the grand jury that caused the grand jury to say, yes, we indict this woman. Indictment is a charge. We charge this woman with murder. And this is where the case is. And today, I think the judge has denied that writ. The judge denied that writ. That was yesterday. The judge denied the writ because he said it was not on the merit. Because the prosecution is saying, look, why do people want the evidence for the case? But that's the law. Discovery is the law. You got to give all the evidence you have to the defendant so they can review it and there can be no introduction or evidence that it's a surprise. The element of surprise, the court wants to do away with surprise that the court does not know about, nor that the defense know about. That's why they want all the evidence to be presented so the defense can have a good opportunity to argue their case. They don't want no surprise. Some people, what they do is they hide some of the evidence and they go to court so the defense don't know what kind of evidence that the prosecution have. So they cannot produce the witnesses that they need to produce to counter that evidence. And that is the purpose of discovery, so that all the parties can have the opportunity to have the witnesses, their evidence, and the counter evidence, and everything laid out so the case can be fair. Because there are certain things that the prosecution, the justice minister can get that the defense will not have the opportunity to get. And they may not be able to prepare the case adequately because they do not have that evidence. So that's why the court does not like surprise. And that's why the court always deal with discovery. What evidence you got, give it to the defense. Let everybody know the evidence so everybody can be prepared to argue the case. And in this case, the prosecution has refused to give the defense It's discovery evidence. And the defense had notified the judge, say, hey, judge, these people don't want to give us the evidence. And now the prosecution, to prevent the judge from forcing them or compelling them to give that evidence, they wanted a writ, a certiorari from a higher court judge to review the case. And the court denied that. Said, no, we're not giving you that thing. We're not giving you a writ of any review. So eventually, the prosecution will be compelled by the court to give the defense all the evidence they have against Musugoro Scott. So that way we are with this case, and this was decided yesterday. So what do you have for us in Liberia this morning, Sam?
Well, news coming says the health workers in the southeastern region of Liberia, George Weah region, have gone on strike, or should I say go slow, because of lack of pay for over 6 months.
How many counties are there in the south region?
There are 6 counties in the southeastern region.
Can you please
That's
name
River Says,
Yes.
Sino,
Yes.
Grand Jita,
Yes.
Grand Crew, George Weah,
Yeah.
Maryland, and Grand Crew and River G County. 6 counties.
You said River G before.
No, I said River Says.
No, you said River G. Now you left River Says out. And then the last one is River Says.
Okay.
Okay.
River Says, Sino, River G, Grand Crew, Maryland, and Grand Jita County. 6 counties in the southeastern region.
So all of them unanimously going on strike?
Yeah, according to the news, all the health workers in that region have gone slow. They're not going to work.
So going slow is different from going on strike now. What was the difference? Because going slow means they will do things slow. They're not going to rush. Like they're not going to be professional like nurses and health workers are supposed to be professional. Instead of running, they will walk. Instead of
going on strike means they're not going to work.
Okay, now strike is different from going slow.
Yeah, they're not going to work.
No, okay.
So, until they can get their pay.
Okay, good. Yeah, because we got different distinction between people and fighting for their rights. You know, some people go slow, but they realize that their work is so demanding that they cannot go on total strike. So they say we'll go slow. That means we just take our own time to do things. We're not rush. Nobody will rush us. But when you say go on strike, that means people staying home.
They're home.
They're not working at all.
No.
Okay.
So the entire health sector in the southern region is paralyzed due to that.
Wow, that's not right. So all these people, when you say health workers, are we
nurses,
doctors?
Yeah, all the health workers, nurses, physician assistants, doctors. If you got any doctor in any of the hospital there, because most of them are clinic, they're not hospital, health center, not even hospital. So they have PA or physician assistants.
So our entire government is paralyzed.
But everybody is focused now on campaign and the coming election, so they're not even focusing on the civil servants. So all the money that they are generating is for their campaign purposes. That's what's happening.
But you see, Sam, this who do we put the blame on? Who do we put the blame on?
You be specific. The leadership, the president, because he's
blame on the leader where our people are just as corrupt as the leaders. Our people are just as ignorant as the leaders. That's the blind leading the blind. And our people in Liberia are so corrupt and useless. They have no intention of changing these corrupt leaders. Everything is tribal and family. When we talk, Sam, the reason why tribalism is bad, because tribalism is the same thing as nepotism.
Mm-hmm.
You can't divide it from nepotism because everybody in the tribe related. That's why it's a tribe.
Yeah.
They all intermarry, they all interrelated, they all speak the same language. So that tribe is a tribe. And when we have tribalism, where these people ruling our government coming from one tribe, they're coming from one family. And that's why it's bad for our government when we have tribalism and ethnocentricity in our system of leadership. You see, but these are the ills of small countries. Wherever you have a small country, a small society is prone to nepotism, it's prone to family rule, it's prone to few people ruling the country. That's why it's hard to have men to stand up to these people. It's hard to have men. All the people in power, we related to them, Sam, one way or another. Liberia is a little small. I don't want to even say heterogeneous. We're a homogeneous society. We're one set of people. Everybody related over years of interrelationship. And where the interrelationship comes in so bad is that I tell you about the tribalism. When we intermarry, you marry a whole tribe. Everybody in the tribe related. Everybody in the tribe had the same interests. It is good for our country, but if we don't have the leadership to really guide our country, it is bad. And that's where we are now. Our leadership over the years have been so one-sided, and our leaders have not tried to bring our country into a heterodox kind of leadership. We always had this one-sided kind of leadership. We need a more diverse leadership where our leaders will love our country more than they love themselves. And this is where we are hitched. This is where we are stuck. You see, when we look at our country, Sam, our country has three histories. One was the coming of the pioneers. That era was to establish a nation. Whatever they did under that era, they did it to survive. The indigenous people were not too much involved in that era because it was an era of conflict. Most of the indigenous people didn't understand who these people were coming from America to settle in the region. So they had to learn about each other. That was the first learning process in our country. So whatever happened in that country, whether we were good or bad, it was for us to get to know each other as a people. Then we had the second era of our history under Tubman. Tubman era is known. It's an era by itself. Tubman ruled for 30 years. That's 3 decades. That's a whole historical era by itself. Besides the coming of the pioneers. That's where Tubman ruled under his ideal of leadership that brought us together. We were brought together under Tubman, different than we were brought together under the pioneers. We were never really brought together under the pioneers when they came. They too were seeking their own existence in Liberia, fighting the tribes, trying to establish themselves. When Tubman got there, Tubman's leadership was more entrenched as a Liberian government because all the tribal leaders were in the house now as representatives. Benjamin had brought all of them in the house and made them a representative for the tribal people. So Tubman had control over our whole indigenous populace from the House of Representatives. He didn't had to go up country to spread his power. All of them were right in Monrovia, and from Monrovia, we had all the 12 tribes in the House of Representatives, or the 16 tribes, or how many tribes we had in the House of Representatives. So Totman era became a different era of uniting our people. That's why today Liberia has one culture. We have a Liberian culture. No matter where we go, we can identify ourselves as Liberian because we have certain things that are unique only to Liberian people. Our handshake, the way we talk, our accent, the way we interact with each other, all those things are unique to Liberian people that were developed under the Totman era. You see? So all that 3 decades of a Totman, that what Torba had no way to fit in that leadership. Because Totman era was a whole historical era by itself. 30 years of ruling Liberia. That was a whole era. Nobody could fit that shoes. Nobody. So when Totman died, Torba himself could not fit Totman's shoes. Because Torba did not have the blessings, first of all. Because the way Totman came to power, Totman didn't use force, no deception to come to power. No, people put him to power. People tried to use Totman to put him in power. And when he got in power, he was blessed to maintain himself in power for 30 years. That's a whole history. You see, before Liberian people can change our country, we got to put our country into perspective. And we got to understand, as Liberian people, the trend of our society. And when we understand the trend, our education will help us to know that we are not our enemies. We are one people. They have come through eras of transformation to this day. And that is why we as a people must rise up together and fight for our freedom from these rogues and bandits. Because right now, we are in a free fall state of existence. We have no leadership. After Totman, because right now we're in a third state of existence where we have no leadership. This is a vacuum. We are in a state of vacuum. Because the first era of our existence was the coming of the pioneers. How they formed themselves, how they interacted with the indigenous people, and all of that a history by itself. Most of us can't even relate to that history. Then we have the second era of Liberia history, which is the Totman era that all of us can relate to. One man ruling a nation for 30 years. That's an era. That's a whole era we live in. And in that era, we're able to bring our people together. Instead of fighting each other as we did when the Congo people coming, in the Totman era, we were able to bring all the chiefs into the legislature and amalgamate. You know what amalgamate means? Unite. Bring our society together, because once we had the chiefs in the House of Representatives and they were loyal to Totman and they were in Monrovia, they were brought into the Liberian culture, because the Liberian culture was the culture of Monrovia. So once the chiefs were in Monrovia and they were interacting with government, interacting with the people in Monrovia, that culture spread to the interior. That's why we are blessed today to have one culture. Because Totman had 30 years to work with the chiefs, for the chiefs to understand the modernization of the Totman era and how to relate to it. That's why you see most of the chiefs, when you talk about Totman, anything bad about Totman, they want to hear it. They want to hear it. because he brought them into a new era of existence. So just imagine one man ruling for 30 years. That changed our whole country. So after Tubman died, we have nobody like Tubman now to change the trajectory of our country from the tribal era to really bring our indigenous people into the modern era. We don't have that leader. You see, that our country is shaking right now. Our country is either going back into the indigenous way of living, or we don't know where to go. We don't know where to go. Even George Weah, they don't know what to do. Look at George Weah, just coming from Asia. What do you say he went to Asia to find Jesus?
To go pray for himself.
Yeah, this is the man who's supposed to know Jesus, who's supposed to be preaching in the church. He said he's going to Asia to understand this Jesus thing. Look how he talk about it. That disrespect to our Christianity.
So he a pastor. He know who is Jesus.
But besides that, you say you go to Israel to learn more about this Jesus thing. What are you calling to our religion? You call it a Jesus thing? You know, just the way he referred to it shows that he doesn't respect the religion.
The man like a word. I mean, doesn't. I mean, know how to express himself. So
you can't justify that. Come on, man.
I mean, I'm saying he doesn't know what he's saying. What he's saying.
As a Christian, will you say, man, I don't care to, I want to learn about this Jesus thing?
So then you understand the Bible as a Christian.
You gotta read the Bible. That's respect. What respect got to do with reading the Bible? Even a child can respect you. A child knows that you can't just talk about Jesus or God and say this Jesus thing. That disrespect. Why you want to tell me, George, we are so dumb? He will go in the church, he know you got to respect Jesus Christ?
The man is Usman. He just pretend to be a Christian, but he's a Muslim.
Justifying all that.
No, I'm just saying something. I'm not justifying. I'm just saying something.
Listen to talk, man. I'm talking somebody says no. The man say, I'm telling you, the man's a stupid man. Then what are you telling me the man say? You know, it's not right. When you justify that kind of thing, you're just as bad as he is. You know, I went to Israel to learn about this Jesus thing. So all your prayers and everything were in vain. You know, I respect my religion. If I go to Israel and come back, I say, I'll be rejoicing and say, oh, I want to learn about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I will not say I want to understand the Jesus thing. I would say I want to learn more about my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to be blessed, to be uplifted. And I will praise what I want to do. But you say you want to understand the Jesus thing. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? That's why our country is cursed. And you're joking about it because you don't know any better. But when our leader plays with our religion, he plays with our lives. Because the Bible tells us when your leaders disrespect God, you'll disrespect God too. Because you're justifying what he's doing. Or the man said that.
No, I'm not justifying. I just.
But you think it's funny. But it's not funny. You know, it's funny when you play with politics. It's funny when you play with stupidity, lies, and things like that. But when you play with our religion, you take it out of a whole different era of foolishness into a serious era. Why you think the Muslims, they stone people and kill people when you talk about Allah? When you talk about Muhammad stupidly, they won't kill you. Why you think? Because of our religion. If our leaders take it for granted, what does it tell us? There is something to play with. That our country is cursed. You don't play with your God. Your God is everything. Your God is supernatural power that grants you peace and stability and love and protection and everything. We can't joke at our supernatural God. So right now we have no respect for nothing in our country. We have no respect for anything. Not God, not man, not animal, not nothing. That's why I'm telling you now, we are in a new era. The era we are in is an era of blindness. Why? Because the era of Tottenham did not prepare us for the future of Liberia. Tottenham didn't prepare us for the future. Tottenham was there for Tottenham. And he lasted 30 years. That was a whole era. The only goodness that came out of Tottenham era was we have a Liberian society. But for us to say we have a future of leaders, we don't. Because Tottenham killed our leaders to stay in power for 30 years. Nobody in Liberia with sense will want a president to stay in power for 30 years. You look at yourself, man. You think you want job we have to stay in power for 30 years, Sam?
God forbid.
That is sitting with Tottenham. People didn't want Tottenham to stay in power for 30 years. But the only reason why Liberia progressed is because people accepted it. People accepted it. So all the new people that came, they brought new ideas, but the ideas did not spread throughout the country because everything was in Monrovia. All the leaders were in Monrovia. All the tribal leaders were in Monrovia. Everything was centered in Monrovia. So Tottenham survived. But after his death, when Tobo came and started changing Liberia and started spreading Liberia out of Monrovia, it was a different era for him. Because during Tottenham era, it was all right for us to live in Monrovia and for everything to exist in Monrovia. But as our country, the more our people became enlightened, the more we wanted development in our country, the more our country began to open up and people saw the different benefits in our country. Our leadership couldn't be Tottenham no more. Tottenham would not have lasted no more. Because even in Tottenham last day, people were trying to get rid of Tottenham. That's why you remember they used to put Toba in jail all the time and tell you to be beating Toba, doing all that because he was afraid of Toba. Bestman, they were all having political prisoners because plenty of people wanted to get rid of Tottenham. Tottenham never stayed in power peacefully. People were always trying to get rid of him because it was in violation of our laws for one man to stay in power for 30 years. You were your sensible, you were your own self. It was against the law. It was against our natural law, our constitution, it was against every law for one man to stay in power for 30 years. So in your rightful mind, Tottenham had many enemies. Some he killed, some he jailed, some he just dissed. Like Apple put that he didn't care about Apple put that he just put it in jail and take them out. But the real people, like Twan Red, and they beat those guys, they made them walk on glass bottle, they messed their minds up. For one man to stay in power for 30 years, it's against the law of God, nature, and the people of Liberia. It's against our will. One man for to stay in power for 30 years, man, it's not right. Nobody can justify that and tell me it's right. Nobody can justify that and tell me it's right. That man killed our democracy. He was a king. Tottenham era was a whole era. Now Tottenham is dead. We have an era with our leaders because of Tottenham. Tottenham never built leaders. He was scared to build leaders. If he had built leaders, they were all going to overthrow him. Just like Toba. Who did overthrow Toba? The very people he built. The very people he sent abroad to school that went to Russia, China, or you remember Toba said all the people to write Czechoslovakians? Who is
Yeah,
doing?
no.
Yes, they were a socialist country. And all those guys came back with socialist mentality to overthrow Toba.
Japan went to Cuba.
That's what I'm telling you. All of the guys came back with socialist mentality. So his intention to build a nation was the very thing that destroyed him. And Totman knew that. Totman knew that he had educated Liberians in mass. The very people he educated would come to move him. And he didn't want to move. So that was the dichotomy. You want to do good, but you do good, it will end up in your own demise. But Toba didn't care. Toba made a sacrifice. You think Toba didn't know that? Toba knew that. Toba knew that he sent Liberian abroad. It was possible these people would come and try to kill him. And they did. We overthrew him. They did. He knew that. And this is what our country is suffering today. This vacuum. That's a lack of leadership. How long will it last? It depends on the Liberian people, Sam. You there? You seen frozen?
Yeah. That's the network.
How long this vacuum of lack of leadership in Liberia will last depends on the Liberian people. I'm a political scientist. That's why you hear me. You don't see me deal with the election and all the things. Because this is not what will change Liberia, Sam. Everybody think the leadership of Liberia will be changed when we change the head of the country. No. Our country will change when the Liberian people understand the plight of their existence. We have to understand it. That's why I'm putting our country into perspective, so we can see what has really kept us down. People don't want to hear this kind of thing. But our country right now has no leader. We are in the era of a lack of leadership. So that way you don't see me dealing with any individual, because anything can happen in this era. Boka is not a good leader. Comics is not a good leader. You are not a good leader. Gongolo is not a good leader. None of those guys are good leaders. They cannot unite the Liberian people. None of them alone can unite the Liberian people. And every one of them consistently have issues. Consistently have issues because their sincerity is lacking. You see? And when you don't tell the truth, Sam, because that's why I don't support people, because right now our country is so bad, we must tell the truth. And when we tell the truth, you can't take sides. You just gotta come straight down the line and tell the truth. We have no leaders in our damn country. And no matter what we do, the stealing will persist, the lying persists, the corruption will persist, the evil will persist until the Liberian people become conscious, like the people in the Southeastern District. You see how other than our strike? That's how we do it. When the people become conscious that the leadership is bad and they must act, because no matter what we do, we don't have leaders. And the more these corrupt leaders in power, the more they will stop the real leaders from coming home. They will put barriers and barriers and barriers. But when they are afraid of the Liberian people, when the people, come together and they are afraid of us, they can't stop the change. You see? But the Liberian people got to stand up for ourselves. Like the people in the southeastern region. We got to forget about politics. We don't care who's going to be president of Liberia. The point is, whoever is president got to make damn well sure, one, they don't be corrupt. Two, our money is precious to us. You better don't touch it. And three, you know what you're doing, president of Liberia. You better know what you're doing, or we'll get rid of you. When the Liberian people become conscious of that and say we're not taking that bullshit no more, we don't even have to meet in a group to have meeting. You pay us for 3 months, your government is shut down. You pay us for 2 months, your government is shut down. There's no debating about it. We see you traveling all over the country, money getting missing. Every time we can put 10 cents down, all our government officials are liars and deceitful people. Foreign countries sanctioning them, and they're not doing anything to sanction people. That means these people are in conspiracy against the Liberian people. That's why we can't G or haul, because our leaders have conspired together to keep us poor. And the Liberian people got to take our matters into our own hands. And I told you, I said the reason why we question health, because we don't understand the value of money. Liberian people, we are people that deal with family, and their family, that deal with love, that deal with, relationships. We don't care about money. So look at you. You don't have to have money to survive in Liberia. You can go to somewhere and eat. People will offer you food and to keep you alive. But we don't know the significance of money. If we knew the significance of money, our country would not be suffering. These baboons who calling themselves our leaders are stealing our money. The stealing in Liberia will not be going on today as it is if we understood the value of money. We don't. So because we don't, we are ancient. We are backward people. Our leaders know the value of money. Look at them fussing among themselves. Look at them building houses in Ghana, in Guinea, and all of, so we can't see it. You know the new style Liberian people now? When they steal in Liberia, they don't send you pictures of the buildings. They send you. Even in my family, I tell you, I owe you my family, for example. My sister that got my bar house that I built first with Sammy too. They don't send us pictures. And
Bluetooth mode.
They tell other people, you went to my brother's house and they told you don't tell Rodney what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't send him pictures. Don't show him nothing. Let him think, because if you show him pictures, he will see. And this is the corruption in our country. It's deep. It's deep. And we the people got to stop this kind of thing. We the people got to stop it. Because our leaders will not teach us to stop corruption. They will not teach us. They are corrupt. And it benefits them. But we need societal leaders that will tell us what is good and what is right. We need people that are government officials to tell us, people like me, who don't care about government, who don't care about Joe Boca or Elliot Cummings or none of those fools running for leadership, who don't care about them. I only care about my country and my people. And I'm fighting to raise the consciousness of Liberian people. Because if we don't raise the consciousness of our people, we have no leaders. We have only these baboons who just want to steal and lie to us and betray us. We have no honest and truthful leaders to our people. We got to breed leaders, man. And the leaders got to come from the people honesty. The people ability to stand up to these useless leaders we got. These criminal people. Because it's more and more evidence, Sam, that all the people want to lead us got issues and problem with money and corruption and power. And if we, the people of Liberia, do not protect our own investment ourselves, we'll fail. We'll be at the will of the evil people time and time again. That's what we need, leaders to teach us right from wrong, to teach us how to protect ourselves. You know? People can always talk about politics. Oh, we're voting for that. No. We need to raise the consciousness of the minds of the Liberian people. When we know for ourselves what is right and wrong, our leaders cannot deceive us. When we know for ourselves that our interest is in the same money that these evil people got their interest in, they can't deceive us. But if we keep looking for handouts, if we keep supporting people to get in power to get us pocket change, we'll never rise. We'll never rise. People will always steal for us and tell us lies and bullshit. But when we raise our minds and our consciousness to ask questions, hey man, you say I'm gonna do this, and why you not doing it too? Why is my pay so low and your pay so high? Why are all the resources of my country disappearing and you in charge? Something wrong. But everything can be for peace sake. To hell with for peace sake. That was during Tottenham time. Tottenham used that to deceive our people. Everything was for peace sake. Peace sake. Oh, you stole the money order for peace sake. Forget about it. For peace sake. We can't do things for peace sake no more. We are a united people. We are a nouveau Liberian society. We as a Liberian people cannot do nothing for peace sake. We want accountability and responsibility. The days for peace sake, the days for that our people think, the days that we family, the day for you, my cousin, we call it over. We want accountability and responsibility from our leaders. You can't give it to us. You got to go. Look at in our House of Representatives today, we got nothing but rogues and bandits and criminals. Thiefie, Jonkoloko, so rogues. How will people sit there? Two people, Tama Fala, I keep hearing these two rogues' names, Tama Fala and Sir Johnny.
And Sir Joseph.
Sir Joseph.
Right.
Stealing our money and converting it to their own properties. They got companies, all kind of useless companies. All the money there, and all our people scared of them. The police scared to talk. What kind of country was that?
You know, the roads they say they are building just this morning from gardens and other places. People complaining, all bust up. Quick impact road, just for elections.
Not roads. West Side Johnny.
Not roads.
Building roads. When the Matana gave them over building roads.
Conflict of interest.
Matana McGee coming and said, "Why are all Liberian people, man? Why will we always destroy our own lives because of corruption? Because of stealing." I bet Matana McGee giving them 10 cents, 15 cents, and 20 cents to shut their mouths.
Yeah.
To shut their mouths. But Sam, this is what we gotta teach and educate our people.
So is it because of poverty or ignorance that what they are chasing is peanuts?
Both. But mainly ignorance. Because when we talk about, I told you tribalism is ignorance. Because when the whole tribe related, And you got people in there who supporting their cousin or their relative. They deceive the whole tribe to support this man. That's what happened in my Gibby County.
Mm-hmm.
All the tribal thing to support McGill and all the useless people. But it hate our country. And I keep telling you, this is problem with small societies. We have a lot of nepotism that leads to deceitfulness and lies and treachery. The same thing in my family, the same thing in our country. People betray us. Now, how can I deal with my own sister, who I know is corrupt? The same thing I'm preaching against, that the same thing my sister doing in my family. The same thing I'm telling people is wrong, that the same thing my sister doing. How do I talk to my younger brothers and sisters? You see that the conflict I have. Yeah, my sister's stealing from us. She has done well for us too. But does that give her the right to steal for us? And all my little brothers and sisters know. And they all talk about it. They don't tell her, but they talk about it. And when I'm in the message of brother, you always talking about this and that, corruption, all of this, and our sister Eva doing this and doing that, and you're not saying nothing. What does that say to me? I don't tolerate those kind of things. I don't ascribe to those kind of behaviors. I don't. And this is in every family in our society. And our country cannot change when our Liberian people are dishonest and cannot stand up for truth and justice. The people in our family doing wrong, we don't tell them. We keep quiet and sit in the corner and talk about it. We know it's wrong. But I can't blame my late brothers and sisters because they had told me they wanted to sue my sister. And I'm the only one saying I'm not suing her. I'm the only one that tell them I'm not suing her. Because I'm not suing my sister because when my father died, I brought the family together. Nobody did anything. I did everything. I called a first family meeting. I brought all of them together. We have 2-3 family unions. The only time we ever had family unions years ago were under my leadership as the head of the family. I brought them together. We had 3 family reunions. We have never had family reunions since then because I left. I told them, I said they were bullshitters. From the time my dad died, I brought them together. I told them let's put $25 together. They told me I was stupid. So they don't listen to me. So that's not my forte, you know. And this is what happened with your father. Got plenty of different children, and some children think they're greater than the other children, and they got more power and influence than the other children, and they can manipulate and lie to other children, you know. But that is in some families. It is in many families that. Even in my African American family, when I tell people my family issue, one of my friends tell me, yeah, we go to family meeting, we do the same thing, and we talk about all these plans, and we leave everybody just forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, boy, that is hard for me. Then why do I come to this family meeting? I can't come to the same thing. I don't go to family meetings no more. Because over 30 years, I've been telling my brothers, let's raise money. They keep telling me, no, you crazy. We got money. And the money we got, people getting sick, people and the same money taking people to the hospital, all that money gone. But you cannot be a family without showing unity. And unity comes from people putting money together or interacting with each other. You can't depend on what you got. And this is what happened now. What we got now, one person got it in their bank account. It's not for us no more. When my sister died, we got to fight for her children to get our money back. I would know where our money is. You see why it's not right? So when she put our money and things in her bank account, she doesn't intend for us to get our money back. Because anything happen to her now, it's all her money goes under her children's control, not under our control. Whereas if our money were in a separate bank account, nobody can touch it. So right there, you know that family members are deceitful. Because all Liberian people, let me tell you, all Liberian people watching my show, if your family people got money or things joined together, they can't put it in their own bank account. They can't put it in their personal business account. They need to form a separate bank account, a separate business account for the family. When you see your family member put your money, your deed and everything in their personal things, that means they do not intend for you to have it. They want to steal it from you. Because when they die, you people will never have control over their property. Their children and their family will, not you. You will fight to get your property back. So when you are in the family, you got joint property with brothers and sisters. None of your brothers and sisters love you more than doing the right thing for you. If they say they love you, everything they do for the family will be separate from their personal account. The money will be separate, the property will be separate, everything will be separate because that's not enough for them and for all of you. And they cannot mix it with their money and with their property, with their family business. They cannot. So any one of you who got families, who families say they're in control of the family and they love you and you see they put your money with their money, they're lying. They are deceitful bitches. They don't love you. They want to steal from you. They want to betray you. This is the Liberian way. And we got to stop it. Too many families are betrayed because our own family members take our money, our property, and mix it with their property and tell us that they love us. They don't love us. They don't. They want to steal from us. They want to steal their damn rules. And that's why our country today have nothing but damn rules. Because the same people in our family who steal from us are the same people that want to rule the West African Republic of Liberia. Sam, make a closing statement.
Thank you so much. It was helpful. The education, the whole night, every day is politics, but the education is very helpful. And to our Liberian people, I hope that tomorrow we will continue with such a great education. Thank you so much, Lord.
Sam, we got to do that to teach our people because too many people are victims to our own relatives, just as we are victims to the government of Liberia. And let me tell you something. I don't care how much your relative does for you. When we are family members, we are enshrined to do things for each other. Okay? When I did things for all my family, I charged them $500. They say, oh, rather no, we're all family. I said, okay. I took my hand out of it. Why would other people charge me and do me wrong? But we all have to protect ourselves, just as we want to protect our wives and our children.
Hmm.
Because you can have brothers and sisters. Your brothers and sisters can only show you love when they do the right and legal thing, just like the law. Just like the leaders of our country, our brothers and sisters are held to lawful obligations to us when they are taking care of our properties. And we need to teach our children these things. Okay? If your brother and sister not doing right by you, they don't love you. They want to steal from you. And that's wrong. That's wrong. You need to cut them off. Okay? They don't love you, don't love them back. Aluta. Continue.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, my people.
You too. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Take care, bro.